Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Roy English Talk, your daily source of English learning motivation, practical tips, and real conversation practice. Today's episode is all about something every learner struggles with. Stay motivated in English learning, how to keep going when it's hard. Have you ever felt stuck, bored, or even like giving up? You're not alone, and today, I'm here to help you fight through that. Let's reignite your passion, refocus your goals, and remind you why this journey is 100% worth it. You ever sit there, staring at your English book or your screen and think, why am I even doing this? You scroll past other learners who seem to be fluent already, while you're still trying to form a basic sentence. And suddenly, all your motivation disappears. I get it. English learning isn't always exciting, and sometimes it's downright exhausting. And it's not just about grammar or vocabulary, it's the emotional roller coaster. One day you're confident, and the next you're doubting everything. Your ability, your intelligence, even your future. It's like trying to climb a mountain in the dark, alone and unsure. But what if I told you that feeling unmotivated isn't a sign of failure, but a part of the process? That even the most fluent English speakers today once wanted to quit, just like you? In this video, we're going to talk honestly about the hardest part of learning English, how to keep going when it feels impossible, when the excitement fades, when progress stalls, when you feel stuck, behind, or just tired. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I lose motivation so fast? Is it even worth continuing if I'm not seeing progress? Why is it so easy to give up and so hard to stay consistent? Those questions, you're not alone in asking them. And more importantly, they have answers. Real answers that can shift how you approach learning and even how you see yourself as a learner. I'm Emma, and I've helped thousands of learners reignite their motivation and confidence in English. I've seen firsthand what happens when someone rediscovers their why. And it's not about pushing harder. It's about finding the right way to move forward. Today, I want to be your guide, your cheerleader, and maybe even your voice of tough love, because you can do this. And the truth is, staying motivated doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from knowing how to handle the moments when you feel like quitting. We'll explore why your motivation vanishes, hear powerful stories from learners just like you, and share real tools to build better habits, manage emotions, and fall in love with English again. So if you're ready to stop beating yourself up and start moving forward, even just one small step at a time, you're exactly where you need to be. Let's begin. Section 1. Why motivation disappears. Let's get real. Motivation doesn't just vanish for no reason. It slips away quietly, sometimes without us even noticing, until suddenly, we're stuck. You might think, I was doing fine. What happened to me? Minty, but here's the truth. Your brain is designed to protect you, not push you. When learning gets hard, when progress slows down, your brain goes into defense mode. It wants comfort, not struggle. And learning a new language? It's a massive mental workout. So when you hit a wall, it's not laziness, it's biology. There are 3 major reasons motivation disappears, and once you see them clearly, you can start doing something about them. 1. Unrealistic expectations. When you first start learning English, you're excited. You imagine speaking fluently, watching movies without subtitles, maybe even traveling or working abroad. That vision is powerful. But if progress doesn't match that dream, fast, frustration builds. We expect to be perfect, fast. We think, I studied for months, why can't I speak fluently yet? That pressure creates burnout. The more you push, the more it feels like you're failing. But fluency doesn't come from pressure. It comes from consistency. And every learner, even the top ones, go through the slow zone. And it's normal. You're not broken. You're just human. You didn't learn to walk, run, or ride a bike in a day, and English is no different. If you expect it to feel easy all the time, you'll constantly feel like you're doing it wrong. But in reality, struggling is learning. That's what growth looks like. 2. The language plateau. Every learner hits what's called a plateau, where your progress feels flat. You're not improving, at least not visibly. You understand basic conversations, maybe even write a little, but your speaking isn't fluid. Your vocabulary feels stuck, and grammar mistakes still happen. This is where most people quit. The plateau tricks you into thinking you're not learning anymore. But actually, your brain is working behind the scenes, deeply processing the language. It's like going to the gym. Just because you don't see muscle growth today doesn't mean your workout didn't count. Most growth is invisible before it's visible. The seeds of progress are under the surface. That's why trusting the process is non-negotiable. Even if you don't feel smarter today, or even if you forgot that one word again, your brain is adapting. It's connecting patterns, adjusting memory, strengthening skills in silence. 3. Emotional fatigue. English isn't just intellectual, it's emotional. Every mistake, every time you don't understand someone, every moment you freeze in conversation, it stings. Over time, that emotional weight adds up. It feels like shame, frustration, or even fear. And here's the dangerous part. The more discouraged you feel, the easier it is to disconnect from your goal. You start saying things like, maybe I'm not good at languages. I'll never sound fluent. I'm too old for this. But none of those are facts. They're stories your mind tells you to avoid discomfort. To keep your motivation alive, you have to reframe those stories. Instead of, I'm too slow, try, I'm learning at my own pace. Instead of, I always forget words, say, I'm training my memory daily. And instead of, I feel stuck, try, them. This is where the real growth begins. Remember, emotions are information, not facts. Just because something feels hard doesn't mean it's wrong. It means you're pushing through a growth zone. The bottom line: losing motivation doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're normal. It means your brain is trying to protect you from struggle. But growth only happens through the struggle. This is a mental game as much as it is a linguistic one. The goal isn't to feel motivated all the time. That's not realistic. The goal is to understand why your motivation drops and know exactly what to do when it does. Once you understand these patterns, you can navigate through them without panic. You gain power, not just over English, but over your mindset. And the best part, you're not alone. Not at all. In the next section, I'll share real stories from learners who hit these same walls and how they broke through them. You'll see yourself in their struggles and in their success. Because staying motivated isn't about being lucky or gifted. It's about having the right tools and mindset to keep going when it's hard. Section 2. Real stories of struggle. Sometimes the most powerful motivation doesn't come from a teacher. It comes from someone just like you. Let me tell you about Carlos. He's from Brazil. He started learning English because he dreamed of working abroad. In the beginning, he was obsessed. He studied 3 hours a day, watched every YouTube lesson he could find, even started journaling in English. But 6 months in, he hit a wall. He failed a speaking test for an internship. He panicked in a job interview. His confidence dropped to 0. Carlos said something that might sound familiar. I thought I was good, but when it mattered, I couldn't speak. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But instead of quitting, Carlos did one thing differently. He lowered the pressure. He stopped studying for tests and started talking to people on language apps. No grades, no pressure. Within months, his fluency improved more than ever. Not because he pushed harder, but because he shifted his mindset from performance to progress. Next is Amina from Egypt. Her English was strong on paper. Reading? Great. Grammar? Perfect. Speaking, that's where the fear lived. Every time she opened her mouth in English, her hands shook. She said, "I was terrified of being judged. People would laugh at my accent or correct my grammar. I felt small every time I spoke." She almost gave up entirely after a group class where she froze and stayed silent for 20 minutes. But instead of disappearing, Amina leaned into her fear. She started recording short voice notes to herself every day, just 30 seconds. Then she posted some of them online. And guess what? People encouraged her, mistakes and all. One comment said, "Your accent is beautiful. Keep going." That one line changed everything. Because sometimes all it takes is one voice telling you, "You're doing better than you think." Then there's Kenji, a college student in Japan. For him, English was a burden. He needed it to graduate. He hated every minute of it. But one day, he discovered something unexpected: English podcasts about gaming. Kenji didn't realize it at the time, but he was learning through passion, not pressure. He started understanding slang, humor, emotion, not from textbooks, but from real people talking about things he actually loved. Now, Kenji doesn't study English anymore. He uses it to connect, to laugh, to escape. And that changed everything. And finally, let me share Sophia's story. She's 47, from Italy. She always believed English was for young people. Then she thought it was too late for her. She said, "Every time I made a mistake, I felt stupid. My kids were learning faster than me. I wanted to quit so many times." But instead of giving up, Sophia decided to make learning part of her identity. She printed a paper and stuck it on her fridge. It said, "I am an English learner. I make mistakes. I keep going." She repeated that sentence every day. Now, she reads novels in English, talks to tourists in Rome. And the best part? She says her biggest victory wasn't fluency, it was confidence. These are not superhero stories. These are stories of real people who struggled, just like you, who felt embarrassed, who cried, who froze, who wanted to walk away from English forever, but they didn't. They adapted, they shifted how they learned. They stopped chasing perfection and started embracing small wins. What they all had in common wasn't talent. It was resilience, a willingness to say, "I'm not there yet, but I'm not quitting either." So ask yourself this: what's your version of Carlos? Are you burned out from too much pressure? Are you Amina, scared of speaking? Are you like Kenji, bored from textbooks but secretly passionate about other things? Or maybe you're Sophia, feeling like it's too late? No matter who you are, there's one truth I want you to remember. You are not the only one struggling. You are not alone. And your journey is valid, exactly as it is. Section 3, Understanding Your Why. Here's a truth that many learners overlook. Motivation starts with meaning. It's easy to say, "I want to speak English," but the question is, why? When things get hard, when progress feels slow, when you want to quit, your brain doesn't need more grammar rules. It needs a reason to keep going. Your why is that reason. Think about it like fuel. A car with no gas won't go anywhere, no matter how beautiful or expensive it is. And the same is true for your English. Without your why, your motivation will run out, no matter how smart you are or how many hours you study. So let's dig in. Some people say their goal is to get a better job or pass a test. That's a great start, but it's still surface level. Let's go deeper. Ask yourself, what would a better job give you? Freedom? Respect? More time with family? What would fluency mean emotionally? Pride? Confidence? The ability to express your real self? That's your real why. Let me give you an example. One learner, Noor from Pakistan, said she wanted to learn English to get a scholarship. But when we talked more, she admitted, "I want to be the first woman in my family to study abroad." I want my little cousins to see what's possible. That's powerful. That's not about grammar. That's about legacy. When your why is bigger than fear, you keep going, even when it's tough. Here's a short exercise. Take 60 seconds and answer this question honestly. What does learning English give me that I can't get any other way? Write it down. Keep it somewhere visible. Your mirror, your phone wallpaper, your notebook. When you feel like quitting, look at that sentence. And remember, your why doesn't have to be big or dramatic. Maybe you want to make friends from other countries. Maybe you want to travel without feeling lost. Maybe you just want to understand your favorite music without translation. All of that is valid. All of that matters. What's important is that it's real to you, and your why might even change over time. That's okay. In fact, that's natural. As you grow, your reasons grow too. But as long as you stay connected to some form of purpose, you'll always have a reason to keep showing up. Now here's a little mindset trick. Combine your why with a visual anchor. Let's say your dream is to live in Canada. Print a photo of Vancouver. Put it on your wall. Let your dream become part of your environment. Or maybe you want to speak confidently at international conferences. Find a photo of a speaker on stage and imagine you there. Why does this help? Because motivation isn't just mental, it's emotional. When you can see your dream, you start to feel it. And when you feel it, you fight for it. The second technique is to connect your English journey to someone else's future. Ask yourself, who benefits when I don't quit? Maybe your future child will grow up bilingual. Maybe your coworkers will be inspired. Maybe a stranger will hear you speak and think, if she can do it, maybe I can too. You never know how your journey will ripple into someone else's life. So if you can't keep going for yourself, do it for them, until you're strong enough to do it for both. Let's recap. Your why is your fuel. Go deeper than goals. Gondin, connect with emotion. Write it down. Keep it close. Use visuals and reminders. Link your journey to others' lives. If you remember why you started, you'll find a way to continue, no matter how many times you fall. Section 4. Habits over motivation. Let's be honest, motivation is unreliable. Some days you feel pumped, ready to study for hours. Other days, you can barely open your English app. That's because motivation is a feeling, and feelings are fragile. So what do successful learners do differently? They don't depend on motivation. They depend on habits. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need a motivational video to do it. It's automatic. It's part of your day. That's the power of habit. It takes the pressure off willpower. Here's the golden rule. Small habits done consistently beat big efforts done occasionally. Let me repeat that. Consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need to study 2 hours a day. You don't need to memorize 1,000 words in a week. What you need is a sustainable rhythm, something so easy you can't say no. Let's look at what that might actually look like. 1. The 5-minute rule set, a timer. Just 5 minutes. That's it. Read 1 paragraph, listen to 1 podcast. Practice 5 flashcards. Most people fail not because they can't study, but because they make the goal too big. The brain resists big goals when energy is low. But 5 minutes, that's manageable. And often, once you start, you keep going. 2. Habit stacking. Want to study more consistently? Stack your English habit onto something you already do. For example, after brushing your teeth, you do 3 minutes of shadowing. While making coffee, you listen to an English podcast. Before going to bed, you write 1 sentence in a journal. When habits are linked, they become smoother, like part of a flow. 3. Design your environment. Your environment either supports your habits or fights them. If your phone is full of distractions, English loses. But if your home screen has English learning apps, or if your notifications remind you to speak, listen, or read, it becomes part of your life. Place sticky notes in English around your home. Change your phone language. Make English visible. Let your world nudge you forward. 4. Celebrate tiny wins. This one's big. Most learners only celebrate big milestones, like passing a test or having a fluent conversation. But if you wait for those moments to feel good, you'll burn out. Start celebrating the tiny stuff. I learned 2 new words today. I listened for 10 minutes without subtitles. I didn't quit. Every day you show up, you're becoming a different person. Track those wins. Write them down. Let them remind you, I'm becoming who I want to be. 5. Track, don't judge, keep a log, even if it's messy. Write what you did today. 1 sentence is enough. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to stay aware. Progress lives in awareness. When you see your effort, even if it's small, you build self-respect, and that fuels momentum. But please, don't beat yourself up for missing a day. Life happens. Skipping 1 day isn't failure. Quitting is. So if you fall, just restart. That's strength. 6. Identity-based habits. This might be the most powerful shift of all. Instead of saying, I'm learning English, try saying, I'm the kind of person who learns something every day. I'm someone who connects through language. I'm becoming a confident English speaker. When your habit is part of your identity, you don't need motivation to do it. You just do it, because it's who you are. Start believing that even small actions are proof of who you're becoming. Here's a quick plan anyone can follow, starting today. Morning, 2 to 5 minutes. Listen to 1 English song or podcast while getting ready. No pressure to understand everything, just exposure. Afternoon, 10 minutes. Shadow a native speaker. Choose 1 sentence. Repeat it 5 times. Focus on rhythm, not perfection. Evening, 3 to 5 minutes. Write down 1 thing you learned today, or record a 30-second message talking about your day in English. That's it, less than 20 minutes. Totally flexible, and over time, it builds a foundation you can grow on. Why this works? Because habits don't rely on willpower. They become part of your system. And when something becomes part of your system, you no longer ask, should I study today? No, you just do. You won't always feel motivated. But if you build the right habits, it won't matter. Because motivation gets you started, but habits keep you going. Section 5. Emotional Management in Language Learning. Let's talk about what no one really teaches you in school, the emotional side of learning English. Because the truth is, most people don't give up because of grammar. They give up because of how they feel. That moment when someone laughs at your pronunciation, the fear before saying something in a group, the frustration of forgetting a word you just learned, the shame when someone corrects you, again. These feelings can be heavier than any textbook. So if you've ever felt embarrassed, stupid, or scared while learning English, you're not alone. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. 1. Normalize the fear. Fear is part of learning. It's part of doing anything new. Your brain is wired to avoid failure. And speaking a new language in front of people, that feels risky. But here's the good news. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. Fear means you care. It means you're pushing your limits. And the only way to get comfortable speaking is by speaking. Through the fear, not around it. A powerful mindset shift? Don't say, I'm afraid to make mistakes. Don't say, I'm training through mistakes. And just like a muscle gets stronger through resistance, your confidence grows through discomfort. 2. Detach from perfection. Perfectionism is a silent killer in language learning. You wait to speak until your grammar is perfect. You hold back in conversations. You stay quiet. Not because you don't know what to say, but because you're scared to say it wrong. But fluency doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing, imperfectly. Kids make a million mistakes when they learn their first language, but they don't feel shame. They keep talking, trying, testing, and that's what helps them improve. Your mistakes are not flaws. They're signs that you're growing. Start praising yourself for trying, not just for getting things right. 3. Reframe comparison. You might look at other learners and think, she speaks better than me. He learned faster. I'll never be like them. But comparison is a trap. You're not seeing their full story. You don't see the nights they doubted themselves, the hours they studied alone, the failures they cried through. Your journey is yours, and the only comparison that matters is who you were yesterday and who you're becoming today. Turn comparison into inspiration. If someone else did it, that's proof you can too. 4. Talk to yourself like a friend. Imagine your best friend said, I made a mistake today in English. Would you say, you're stupid, you're not good enough? Of course not. You'd say, hey, it's okay, you're learning, keep going. So why do we speak to ourselves so harshly? Your inner voice becomes your reality. If you constantly say, I'm bad at English, your brain will believe it. But if you say, I'm improving, I'm learning every day, that becomes your truth. Be kind to yourself, especially on the hard days. 5. Release the shame. Shame is one of the heaviest emotions. It whispers, you'll never be fluent. You're too old. You always mess up. Shame makes you hide, but healing happens when you bring it into the light. If you feel ashamed about your accent, your speed, or your vocabulary, talk about it. Share it with a teacher, a friend, a community. You'll discover almost everyone has felt the same way. And the more you speak through the shame, the smaller it becomes. You take your power back, word by word. Emotional resilience isn't about being fearless. It's about feeling fear and showing up anyway. Every time you speak, even if your voice shakes, you win. Every time you correct your own mistake instead of hiding it, you grow. Every time you feel discouraged but come back the next day, you build confidence. So remember, learning English isn't just an academic journey, it's an emotional one. And the more you learn to manage your emotions, the more unstoppable you become. Section 6. Rekindling the Spark. When was the last time learning English felt fun? Not like a chore, not like a test, but fun. Like you were a kid again, discovering something totally new and exciting. The truth is, fun isn't a luxury in learning. It's a necessity. Without joy, learning becomes dry, mechanical, forgettable. But with joy, learning becomes sticky, memorable, and more importantly, sustainable. If you've lost that spark, let's bring it back. 1. Learn what you love. This might sound simple, but it's life-changing. Combine English with your passions. Love cooking? Watch recipes in English. Love fashion? Follow English-speaking influencers. Obsessed with gaming, tech, sports, or makeup? Great, that's your classroom. One learner told me, I stopped using textbooks and started watching makeup tutorials in English. I learned vocabulary faster and had fun doing it. Learning doesn't need to feel like school. It can feel like you. 2. Get silly. Seriously. Sometimes we take English way too seriously. We want to sound perfect, sophisticated, smart. But what if you let yourself play? Try reading jokes. Watch blooper reels. Say tongue twisters. I know learners who practice by pretending they're characters in a movie, doing fake accents, over-the-top voices, full drama. It might feel silly, but that's the point. Play unlocks your brain. It lowers fear. It makes mistakes feel safe, even fun. Learning doesn't always need to be deep. Sometimes it should be ridiculous. 3. Gamify the process. Your brain loves games, so turn your English practice into one. Set mini challenges. Learn 5 new slang words in one day. Speak for 2 minutes straight without switching to your native language. Watch a short film and write a 1-sentence review. Give yourself points. Reward yourself with treats. Compete with friends. Track streaks. Create levels. This turns learning into a mission, not a burden. 4. Use English creatively. English isn't just a tool, it's a canvas. Write poems, even if they're silly. Create an Instagram story in English. Record yourself doing a comedy skit. Write your own diary of mistakes where you laugh at your biggest fails. Creativity keeps the spark alive. It reminds you that English isn't about rules, it's about expression. And expression is what makes us feel alive. 5. Stop overcorrecting. Not every session needs to be productive. Not every mistake needs to be fixed. Some days, just enjoy English. Absorb it, bathe in it, watch movies, dance to songs, listen to a TED Talk while lying in bed. Let English become a part of your lifestyle, not just your study plan. Give yourself permission to enjoy the language again without pressure. 6. Find or create a community. Learning alone is hard, but when you laugh, struggle, and grow with others, it becomes a journey. Join online groups, local clubs, conversation partners, and if none exist, create one. Start a WhatsApp group. Start a weekly English wins post. Share funny mistakes. Celebrate small victories. Community brings energy, and energy brings the spark back. Final reminder. You don't have to force your way through this journey. You can dance through it, joke through it, play your way forward, because when you enjoy the process, you stop counting the time and start making progress without even realizing it. Stay motivated in English learning. You made it to the end, and that means something powerful. You're still here. You're still showing up, despite the doubt, the fear, the slow progress. And that's what matters most. Let's pause and remember what you've learned today. You discovered that losing motivation doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. Every learner hits walls. Every learner struggles. The difference is, some stop, and others keep going. You saw why motivation disappears, the plateaus, the pressure, the emotional fatigue. You heard real stories of learners just like you, people who nearly gave up but didn't. You explored your personal why, the deeper reason behind your journey. You learned how to build powerful habits even when you don't feel inspired. You faced the emotional side of learning, the fear, the shame, the voice that says, "You're not good enough." And most importantly, you learned how to bring joy back into the process, to make English yours again. Now take a deep breath. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fluent tomorrow. You just need to not give up today. Your progress is already happening, even if it's quiet, even if no one sees it yet. So here's your challenge. Do one small thing today to move forward. Write one sentence, speak one line, listen to one voice, and tell yourself, "I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm not giving up." If this video helped you feel less alone, share it with someone who needs to hear this too. Let's build a community of learners who lift each other up. And if you want more content like this, motivation, strategy, real stories, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment below. Tell me, what's your why? Thanks for learning with me. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.